Hello, this is Gene. I woke up this morning and found out that Mourinho had been sacked. And I'm not going to say it wasn't unexpected after what happened on Sunday and our league position at this time. Clearly, it's what most people wanted to have happen. But I've been a supporter of Manchester United for a long time. Before they were great. First time I watched them in the 1970s. Even before Ferguson got there. And I don't like what's going on with my team right now and the club right now. As many people know, that I've had a couple videos on here about how I backed Mourinho, and I still back him today. And I thought he was the right guy, but sometimes things don't work out. So I'm not going to blame fans that want to get rid of him last year, even after we finished second. So, for those who actually watched this video, who've seen my critiques of those who were against him in the past, you're going to be able to, I guess, look at me and say, I told you so, or something like that. I really don't care about that. When you lose the locker room, and clearly he has, he lost a number of players in that locker room. And once it starts fester and people start saying things that gets out of the locker room, and then you have that performance that they had against Liverpool, I think that most people would have been okay if we'd went there. Like, I can remember a couple of years ago that we got hammered at home by City. But even after each goal that went in with them, we kept going forward trying to get more goals. And I don't know if that year was that we lost the championship on points. Not points, but goals difference. I think we lost that game 6-1. But we kept going forward and kept trying to get goals, even though they would come back and score at the other end. And that was part of the Manchester United that people are hearkening back to, that we don't have that anymore. And there's something to that. But it's just foolish to say that this is all on Mourinho. There's a new type of player, and it's something that's happened in the last 10 years or so. And these the players, and you see this in those of you who are overseas that don't really watch United States sports. This is something that's really permeated the sports here. You have a player that thinks he's bigger than the team, bigger than even the club, and because of that, this unbelievable idea, this ego that these guys have, based on having millions of followers, people saying how great they are, and even the people that are supposed to report unbiasedly continually just want to be the friends of the players, especially. So clearly, he probably needed to go. I think this is a good time to get rid of him. Still, I was Jose in even after Sunday. Clearly, there's a gulf between two teams right there. The way that Liverpool plays and the players that they have, and the dedication that those players have compared to what United has. That comes down on the manager. He has to motivate a team. If he can't do it, then I guess you have to move on. But I just want to talk about something a little bit different here, because everybody in the media are just loving this shit. So everybody's talking about it. It's on everything here. Even in the States, we have it, and we're getting to hear about this and saying it was that he made a toxic environment. I just want to talk about some of the fan sites that we have out there that are supposed to be for the club and be something you get some positivity when you talk to other Manchester United fans. And there are two of them that I watch. Used to watch religiously, but I have lost all real faith in how they report. And these are, for the most part, they're fan sites. So it's kind of hard for me to say that they're run by the club, that they're commercial in any way, even though they make enough now that they make a lot of money from their subscribers base. So it's their job and their vocation. So I'm going to go ahead and call them out. The first one is United Stand. The guy that runs that is named Mark Dolbridge. Now, that's not his real name. Even to today, he will not put out his real name, even though you can go online and find out what his real name is. Don't really understand why he continually uses the pseudonym for his name, but regardless. But for a long time, he was always Jose N. And then, I don't know, 4 or 5, maybe 2 months ago, he started going just went crazy about Mourinho. He started being shaving, not really shaving, and like he was just this person against Mourinho all of a sudden. And it's just all based from emotion. It's not based on facts in the case. You can clearly say that Mourinho had to be sacked because the position that they have in the league right now, that we're not even close to the top four. And so you can just basically on football alone, you can say he could go. I have no issue with that. But it becomes more when these type of websites sit there or YouTube channels say that there's some sort of motivation from Mourinho to make players bad. And the greatness about Mourinho is that he will tell you exactly what you want to hear, and then you have to decide where you really want to hear that, or you want to put other types of blame onto that. When he sits there and says that my players are not, when a reporter asks him, says, "Have you lost the locker room?" And he says, "Why are you asking me that? Are you trying to say that the players are dishonest?" I'm not saying that. They play really well, and I don't know why my dog is barking, but anyway. So you're basically saying that the players are not being honest. These are professional players, and if you put them out there to play, they're supposed to do what the manager wants and the tactics that he wants. So when he looks back at the reporter and say that you're saying that the players are dishonest, I'm not saying that, he says. So I think that's a very when you look at the psyche of the man, he says, "Look, I asked them to do this. They did as best as they can based on their ability, and we got beat by a better team. That's what happened on Sunday." Now, again, you can sit there and say the fumbling part of it, the tactics and all that stuff, that he's naive, and because of that, he needs to go, and that's a fair point. But when you start talking to say that somehow that Mourinho wants to make these players worse, that all of a sudden he wants Pogba to be the worst player there is, that he's done something that made Martial, you can't put a bull in a goal. This is just stupidity. These are well-paid athletes that can't. I mean, they play a kid's game. They really do. Now, again, I was never great at soccer, but I was really good at basketball. And it's a smaller, maybe 5 people instead of 11, or let's say 10 out there on the pitch. But it's similar in a lot of ways. And if there's one person that doesn't really follow the passion of the manager or the tactics of the manager, it could cause a problem. And we had that with the guy that we bought that cost way too much money, that we just got him while he was at Juventus when we weren't in the Champions League. And for some reason we decided we had to buy this guy because to appease the fact that we're not playing the Champions League. So let's get Pogba back. And can't we just have a rational discussion about why Pogba left in the first time? That Ferguson knew that there was something off about the guy, that he wasn't really the right type of player for Manchester United. Not physically or footballing wise, but the mental side of it. And the man is not that smart when it comes to football. He's not. Now, he looks great when he's on a team that has great players around him, or a guy that can hold the ball in midfield and makes him allowed to go forward. So in his mind, he wants to be a midfielder, but he really wants to be as a forward. But he's not good as a finisher, so he can't play up there. He loses the ball way too much. That's not Mourinho. The fact that when you're in the middle of the midfield and you push the ball the wrong way, and you wait and you wait and you wait, and everybody says there's nobody running. It's not his fault. And then when you actually look at it, you can hear people say, "Look at Rashford's run. He's not getting the ball. Look at Lingard's run. He's not making the ball to him." The problem with our team was the spine of the team. It was Pogba and our forward with Lukaku. Lukaku can't hold on to the ball. His first touch is so poor. And then you have these two guys that have the ball a lot in the game, or the ball is trying to go into them, and we continually lose it. And then you have to track back, and Paul does not play defense. Lukaku will. So you have this. So you got Paul. Really, what I saw is a guy running around without his head caught off. I mean, like a chicken without a head caught off. That's how he played many times. And that's not down to the manager. It's his ability to play and track back. That's why when people talk about he has his players, yeah, Lingard knows what he's supposed to do. Rashford knows what he's supposed to do. Matic knows what he has to do. Fellaini knows what he has to do. And they end up losing because they're not as good as some of the other midfielders in the league. So they get called out a couple times. But the fact is they do exactly what the manager wants. So there's this naivety from supporters when we say we're not playing like we should play. Well, yeah, but you have to have somebody who can actually distribute the ball. And we clearly got him for that. But he doesn't have that in his locker. I haven't seen it. Every now and then he does something really good. And his physicality allows him to do certain things, like get against City last year. He has a certain amount of physicality. He can get past other players. But overall, even with France, and people would sit there, yeah, he won the World Cup. He didn't win it. The team won it. But he played shit the entire tournament. And he ended up getting a goal in the last game. But he played shit. To be honest, the French team played like shit, but they got to the final. And when they started going and Croatia was trying to get back into the game, it opened up the game, and their flair players did really well, and Pogba got a goal, and everybody says he's the greatest player of all time. The man isn't in the top 10 of midfielders in world football, and he's not even the top 5 in the Premiership. He's just not. He hasn't proved that he is. Just because he played in the Serie A and he had great players that are better than him behind him or other side of him that made him take away his flaws. Maybe we gave him too soon. I mean, he paid so much money, you expect him to do that. But it was always his attitude. And Mourinho is an old school manager, and I said that in my videos before. If the new players can't deal with that, then I guess he can't be a Manchester United manager if we're going to have those type of players. Now, I talked about United Stand and this guy, and I don't even want to watch him anymore. But he just, again, there was a time that I thought that he was talking about, this little thing that he had, the United Stand, his own fan site. It has over 300,000 subscribers, and it's a place of inclusion. I hate saying shit like that, but basically everybody had an opinion there. But he became so toxic when it came to talking about Mourinho. And these guys like this, because I think in the back of their mind, because they have a large following and people, he's been on Sky, he's been on some other things. So this thing in his mind, he believes that he's bigger than he really is. He's just like anybody else. I give him credit for having his own YouTube channel and being there every day and doing that. That's all on him. And he should get all that money for that. That's how the world works now. If you have the ability to go on YouTube and somebody likes it, you get money for it. Good on him. But he's no different than me when it comes to it. And I saw the issues that we've had in this country, or this team before. This happened before Mourinho and before Van Gaal. This is something that I thought Mourinho would be able to fix. But you can't, when the culture is like, I want to bow down to the players, and guys like him don't want to say something that they'll never be able to have the ability to actually sit across the table since somebody like Pogba or somebody like that they can have this conversation with and have their fame kind of go back onto them. It all becomes a narcissistic way. And so they blame the coach when there's much more issues here. And guys who played before, players like Neville and that have said there's a naivety at the football team. And they've said this for a long time, that there's something above Jose. Now, I don't feel bad for him. I think that Jose thought he had a certain way. It didn't work. He's going to get a lot of money from this, and he'll move on to something else, and he'll come back. When United actually gets good, we'll probably have to play him in the Champions League, wherever he's at, and he'll probably beat us. So, and he's a very private man, and you don't hear anything about him in the press outside of the football team. This guy will tell you what he's feeling, or he says, I can't talk right now because he doesn't want to get in trouble when it comes to the FA. But if you just listen, there's always a kernel of truth of what the man says. And people don't want to hear it. They want to have him to have a tirade all the time instead of listening to what the man had to say. Now, again, we're past it now. He's gone. So that's United Stand. The other one is Full-Time Devils, and they're like at a different level. Even though I don't think they have any more subscribers than Mark has. But this is somebody that's commercially successful, and they have a lot of people that are into the team. They apparently they have some sort of backing back there, and they're the same way. They do things that they don't want to. The only person they really take out is probably Matic or Fellaini. That's the only ones they really talk bad about. They will never talk about anybody else, and they continually say stupid stuff, and because they think that those guys are like their friends because they see them every now and then, and they talk to them a couple times on their channel, that they don't want to say anything bad about him, but they'll slate the manager when it's clearly the issue is that there's an attitude problem on that team, and it comes from one player, and a player that will just, if the coach comes out as being very serious with him and saying you need to do something like that, and then he listens, and then he goes off and does something else 5 seconds later, the other players see that. You know who else sees it? The youth team sees it, and everybody else sees it, that the respect for the manager is lacking there. So anybody they get in, and I don't know who that's going to be. I guess we're hearing that Solskjaer is going to come in. I don't know what that means. Do I think that Pogba can come out and play really well against teams that are below us? Yeah, and I think he'll get some goals, and we'll be breaking over the cracks. But the teams that are above us right now, we're not even close to. And when you look at the team and you say, if everybody was playing at their potential, if Lukaku was playing at his potential, if Sancho was playing at his potential, if Pogba was playing in his potential, Fred, Matic, there's so much issues here. I don't really think. There's a talent issue, and we didn't have a team that can play Mourinho's type of player of team of his type of tactics. But just listen to him. Mourinho said it last thing after the game, or talking about when he was at Madrid, he had the greatest counterattack in history. And go on YouTube, watch what he did back then. They scored over 100 goals. But you have to have the right players. And he said, I had Ronaldo, and he had these great players, young players. Now we have, let's compare. You got Lingard, Rashford, and Martial. If you put them in there, that's another thing I want to get into. United Stand and full-time Devils have much of the responsibility of everybody else because of the toxic reporting that they do, and it just gins up fans even more. Now, Manchester United doesn't have a right to be in the top four. You have to be able to play the game in a certain way to be in the top four. Liverpool didn't have that right, where they were sucky for a long time, and now we're going through it, and we probably deserve to go through it. But when we talk about this idea of how fast our front men are, they're not. Rashford is not that fast. Neither is Lingard, and neither is Martial. They're quick, but they don't have the breakaway speed. If you compare Martial to Giggs or Ronaldo, he'd be way behind them. I don't think they're that much faster than Beckham and his youth. Now, clearly there's Giggs and Ronaldo, and then there's Beckham further back, but we're not as fast as everybody thinks we are. And the other issue is that our technical ability with the ball on the floor is woeful, and we go way too slow, and that comes back. Do we have the technical ability to do what a team might have? It's been clear to me. Now, I'm the one who got in trouble because I said that Shaw was fat, and then he clearly came out and said, yeah, I was, and now I've lost it all, and I'm going faster, and I'm going quicker down the line. And we saw it this year. He's played almost at a world-class level until he got hurt. So, I guess Mourinho gets no credit for that, but I guess he doesn't. The other issue is Lukaku. It's looked like he's gained 20 pounds, or a couple of stone, or whatever that is. So when these balls that are coming through there, he can't get past the back defender, where he did a couple years ago. Now, again, we don't really know how old he is. Sometimes this happens from guys that are their fathers come from Africa and stuff. He looks a lot older than he is. So I don't know actually if he's really in his 20s. So and his form has been fairly poor. But again, he's somebody you have to give the ball. He can't make a goal on his own. Now, every now and then he does something great where he can cross the ball in, and he has that talent. Okay. The question is he? It depends on what we're going to do. I mean, the players that we have, what are we going to do? Lingard is not fast at all. He can't go past anybody. Now, when the game opens wide up and people are trying to come at us, and then all of a sudden we have these guys going forward, it looks like they're fast. But in the middle of the game, they don't get past anybody. They don't have the ability to go past it. Every now and then, Martial gets by people, but people know how to do that. They put 2 or 3 guys right on top of him. He holds onto the ball way too long. Just like Pogba, they hold onto the ball way too much. And the reason why Matic plays, even though he was Mourinho's guy, was the fact is he gets the ball and he gets rid of it. And yeah, sometimes he has to hold on to it or it takes a couple of touches, but he continually tries to move the ball one way or the other. Where Pogba just sits there. And Martial will do the same thing. That's not, when teams know this, they know that they can just shut down that side of the field. Now, is the players there to give us a team that will be in the top 4? I think so. I think that I still believe that we're man-to-man, people playing the way they can, that we're better than Arsenal. I think we're still better than Chelsea. I think that we pretty much dominated Chelsea and should have won that game. So they're well below City and Liverpool. I think we're just below Spurs, but not by much. Now Spurs have become more and more strengthful all this time, but they're not going to win the league again. Same thing with Liverpool. If they win the league, great for them. But there's a good chance they're not going to get a trophy this year. They have a chance. I mean, they got to play Bayern Munich. Everybody's talking about the tough draw that we have playing PSG. I don't think the Liverpool's going to get by Munich. And this is one of the worst Munich teams ever. So we'll see what happens. I think that they can deal with the press that Liverpool tries to have. And they have the ability to get past it, and they'll have a chance to. Because we played shit, and we still had chances to score in that game. Because Liverpool, they might win everything. They might win the treble. But I just don't think they're that good. I think that it's just a matter of them using the type of players they have and being very aggressive, and other teams not being able to deal with that. And you just have to have a certain type of team to deal with that. And once you get that first goal against them, we'll see. Anyway, they're having a great year, though. I could talk about this forever, so I'm going to probably shut this down. But anyway, I hope that he has a future in coaching. Maybe he'll write a book or something like that about what happened with him at Manchester United. I always thought he was going to be a coach at Manchester United. As much as I hated him when he was at Porto and when he was at Chelsea, I always thought he was the type of guy that could have came here and done something about it. It's something more than that. And I hope that I don't know, he probably won't. He probably won't come out and say anything about it because I think the man has more class than that. But there's more here than this. And this is now the 3rd time that we've sacked a guy. And the only reason we didn't sack him before is because we found out that they were going to sack him. And then we beat Juventus or something like that. And so they allowed him to stay a little bit longer. But again, I don't really have an issue with the team or the club getting rid of him. I have a problem that it's Woodward that did it, because I think Woodward is part of the problem as well. But when it comes from a supporter side of it all, it's like, look, we don't have any right to be the best team. The players have to buy in to whoever the coach is, and the staff, and all have to do this. And if they don't do it, or you have somebody who doesn't have I don't know what it is. I've always thought it was about Pogba. There's something off of him. And I don't want to say it's because the race part of it. His IQ is just not where it's at. He's a kid, and right now he's in his mid-20s, and I haven't seen the maturity there. He's had guys around him that had to force him to be more mature, and we don't have anybody. They don't have anybody in the game that have it, because he became so huge in the last 2 or 3 years because he became this icon for media. Then they won the World Cup, so it's kind of hard for somebody that's maybe not at the same level when it comes to athletic ability to just get in his face. I mean, he would definitely benefit for somebody like with a Keane with him. And people talk about Solskjaer, and I don't know that Keane would even take it, but I think Keane should be there. And what'll happen if that happens is that half the team will probably leave. This is a different type of time for footballers. It happened with Beckham when he left to cut the team. I don't know that Ferguson could actually coach anymore how it is because they have so much more power right now. They get so much money now. And there's no real history when it says stay. Manchester United is not just a brand. It's a way of playing football, and that you should grow up thinking one day I want to play for Manchester United because of the history and stuff. It's just not like that anymore. And like I said, I've seen it here in the United States. It's hard for me to watch any professional sports. Although this year the NFL has been really a lot of good games and stuff, but it's not the same. And as you get older, you see this stuff. The game has changed so much, and the parallels from the baseball here and soccer in England is so crazy. I mean, the players used to live in the same places that were the fans. They had to have a second job after the season because they weren't paid that much. And then when they started getting more and more money, then we started saying they didn't have the loyalty to the team anymore. You're not going to see a guy like Giggs playing with the team for 20 years. You're not going to see that anymore, unless it's at a lower level. You're not going to see it. Guys like Pirlo or Totti, you're never going to see this anymore because players want to move on and they want to have the brand somewhere else. And a lot of people might like that. Personally, I don't. Again, I'm an old guy. We'll never see, a team like the team from 1992. That team come from the youth team to all of a sudden be this great monolith of players. You're probably not going to see that. I just wish this, and I'll stop with this. I just wish whoever comes in, and if I had the money to buy Manchester United, as an owner, I'd say this: you need to recruit a native Englishman instead of going around the world into Africa and all that stuff. You need to get guys that have this loyalty to be part of this area. I love that Rashford's from the area and Lingard's from the area. That's all great, but I'm talking about native. And again, they're native, but I'm talking about white people here, because this idea has been going on, and I talked about in this channel a couple of times, that we just decide at an early age that one guy can run just a little bit faster or maybe jump maybe a little bit higher, and then we started saying, let me promote that. And at the earliest levels now is the young white black, usually the young white boys are getting pushed back because people from a different ethnic background are being pushed forward because they start maturing a little bit earlier than white people do. Again, this is generally speaking. Physically, they mature a little bit faster. Intellectually, IQ-wise, it's more of a European thing. And I think that the game has lost the technical know-how of a midfielder like Keane or Scholes or even Beckham. Giggs, when he played in the midfield, people forget the guy was in the outside. He came in, he stayed in the midfield as well. And we lost that ability. And so what we have is a lot of guys that have all this talent, and they don't have any idea how to actually use that talent to flowing football. And I see it, and I don't just do it because, hey, everybody's on the field is black, and I'm just upset because of that. I'm saying I can see the fact that the game is not played like it used to be. Again, I could be seeing it, looking at it wrong. Anyway, just let me know what you think. I know I talked for almost 30 minutes about this, but I can talk forever about this. And just let me know, and we'll talk about it in the comments. If anybody wants to talk to me, stream with me, I'll talk to you about Manchester United. I would do that. I don't know if it's a good day or a bad day. All I can say is that this doesn't really mean anything to me. I mean, it hurts a little bit, but my dog just had a stroke yesterday, so I'm dealing with that, and I have my own health issues. So I'm not going to just wallow in this. We move on, and we try to do as well as we can, and we're still in the Champions League, and let's see what happens against PSG. Okay, thank you for watching. We'll talk to you guys later, and we'll talk to you bye. Bye.